No, it's healing up fine. Don't worry. All he did was shove me out of the way, and it's just a little scrape. So, yeah, Cabbage gave me first aid, and it's looking fine. Look, you don't gotta worry so much. Right, next time an intruder comes in, contact you or Rugburn. Got it. But he was getting away, and I thought that. Right. Don't think, just call one of you two. Got it.
Husky, I'm husky, flying leaf and husky, I'm husky, flying leaf and husky, yeah, that's me!
Shouldn't like it now, but that ain't gonna last. To minimize the damage, we gotta work fast. This is what we gotta do to help the kids to get it. Now listen to my review, you're gonna regret it. It's husky by my side and a meat ball in my chest. The real bad kids movies with help from the rest. I'm fighting leaf, the kid movie cheat. Don't give me no grief, or you're gonna regret it.
Hi, Internet! And welcome back to Kid Movie Ninja, You're Gonna Regret It, with your hosts, Fighting Leaf and Husky the Wolf. These Disney remakes are all inferior attempts at making things that were already good. There, that's a pretty good summary of a bunch of movies that you don't gotta see anymore. Now, a lot of other much more qualified reviewers have tackled these movies into the ground already, but when somebody sends you one of these things in the mail allowing you to make a 100% profit off of reviewing them, well, it's basically a requirement that you do. Hey, Cabbagehead, bring up some of that footage of us reading the reviews written on the case. The new version of The Lion King was a huge disappointment to me, because I believe they messed the music up. Music was so much a part of the original, and music in the current film didn't have the same impact. The magic and joy were lost. Songwriter Sir Elton John. Beautiful, but disappointing. The images feel very real at times, but they lack the character and heart of both true real animals and traditional animation. Julia Swift. Can you feel the love tonight? No. Actually, I can't. Richard Probst. If you haven't caught on to it yet, this movie did not impress anyone. Yeah, we had a little bit of a technical issue during our first recording of this movie review, and this is actually our second attempt. Yeah, we lost a lot more than just a bunch of hair that day. Look, there's really no point in going over the events of the movie because it's just The Lion King. It's the same dadgum movie you already watched years ago, and there's no point going over it shot for shot. So we're not going to. Instead, we're going to be going over the highlights of both the good and the bad that this movie has to offer. And yes, technically there was good to be had here. Don't believe us? You're stupid! I won't disagree. One thing that stands out, of course, is the animal models are the best we've ever seen in any movie ever. Look at them. They look and move just like actual animals. It's great. That's one thing that no one can take away from this movie. True, bits are still obviously CGI, but it's a milestone film that sets a new standard for what CGI is capable of. But there's a catch to this. It's too realistic, but also not realistic. It's confusing. What Husky means is that the combination of naturalistic animal movements combined with the distinctly non-natural singing and musical numbers and other things that this movie brings is a bit jarring for our experience. But here's the thing, even humans don't move like humans when they're on stage. As Jerry J will demonstrate. Oh, I just can't wait to be king. That sucked. Now contrast it with this. Oh, I just can't wait to be king. See, that sucked a lot less. Come think of it, watching this movie kind of reminds me of watching a buddy movie. For anyone who's forgotten, the Air Buddy flicks are a series about puppies who go on stupid adventures with stupid plots and dumb personalities. They also had a tendency to stand stock still so the animators could animate their mouths moving more effectively. The Lion King movies don't stand still like that, but they still have the same kind of problem. This isn't always a problem, though. The best example I can think of is Scar, because his model and his movements and dialogue perfectly match each other at all times. Mostly because he both looks like a creepy murderous monster and talks like a creepy murderous monster. He's got no other settings. It took a while to adjust to his new personality, but once I did, I think he fits this new style of movie better than anyone else. Tied only with the new Shenzi, but we'll get to her later. The point is that these characters had to be specifically rewritten to match the new style of movie that they were going for here. One thing that really shows the limitations of these models is the close-ups. Close-ups are meant to convey subtle emotions or put emphasis on what's being said. This close-up, for example, when Mufasa, voiced by James Earl Jones, tells Simba about the great kings in the sky, actually works because it's giving weight to words being spoken. Unfortunately, most close-ups in this film are not used to that effect. Just a couple minutes earlier, when Simba steps into his dad's paw print, we're supposed to feel something. But what exactly? His face doesn't convey anything. The irony is that lions are actually very expressive creatures in their own way. But it doesn't translate at all to musical theater. The best example of this movie's high and low points are in the musical number Just Can't Wait to Be King. J.D. McCrary and Shahadi Wright-Joseph, young Simba and young Nala respectively, are fine singers, but their models can't match the energy. Not only that, but the environment takes a while to do anything visually interesting enough to make this feel like a musical number. These elephants should have been spraying water or something at least, come on! We needed more choreographed moments like this bit with the giraffes. While this piece does warm up eventually to the big event it was supposed to be from the start, it peters out to a whimper at what's supposed to be the grand finale. Why? Because the models don't know how to give dramatic posing. Exaggeration is one of the 12 principles of animation for a reason, Disney. Your company literally wrote the book on this. Well, at least the voice acting is on point, right? Wrong! Fun fact, our first exposure to this movie was actually audio only. So you'd think we'd avoided the worst parts of this movie and what it had to offer. Ha, we wish. The first half of the flick sounds decent-ish until you realize something important. Not only can James Earl Jones deliver a much more impactful reading of these lines,
is that a challenge?
but the fact is that he literally has delivered a more impactful reading of these lines. In the freaking original!
Is that a challenge?
It's not that 100% of the line reads in this movie are bad. Some of them actually got legitimate laughs out of us.
We have an imminent threat. Something is approaching. Oh, wait, scratch that. That's my own shadow.
The real problem is, for the majority of the film, it doesn't sound like the voice actors are giving it their all. The first half of the movie sounds okay, even if it should have been better. But then Timon and Pumbaa happen.
I missed him! I'm gonna get one of those vultures one day. I'm gonna get one.
I don't know why it's so important to you.
I just feel like it would make me feel better.
This is where everything wrong with the movie just cranks it to 11. These two have a different kind of shtick from their original counterparts. Which isn't bad in itself, but these two are freaking annoying! Timon here is voiced by Billy Eichner, and Pumbaa is voiced by Seth Rogen. And they seem to have the mistaken idea that throwing out a bunch of words at once is comedy gold.
No. I don't know where you're getting circled.
No, yeah, there's no circle
it's
of
no
life.
circle.
No, not at all.
They got no timing, no punch, they just talk over each other in every scene they're in. And they screwed up Hakuna Matata! There are exactly 3 points that really emphasize just how much. The first is before the song starts.
Repeat after me, kid. Hakuna Matata.
What?
Hakuna Matata!
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna, most people get a bigger reaction when we say it the first. Okay.
Some people start clapping
Hakuna
immediately.
Matata.
The next is during Pumbaa's lament.
And I got downhearted. Every time that I farted, are you gonna stop me?
No, I'm not. You disgust me.
And finally, during the fade-out.
No, let's leave him wanting more.
Yeah, you've grown 400 pounds since we started.
Meanwhile, I look exactly the same.
Means no worry.
You tell him to stop.
You insisted we sing this.
I insisted you started singing it.
It's our signature song. We shouldn't.
This is not the first impression of a couple of lovable slackers. These are a couple of annoying whiners who make a mess out of everything they say. This is where the next big issue with the movie comes in. Oh yeah, we haven't got to that part yet. It feels like the whole movie has been put on fast forward for some reason. The scene where adult Simba, voiced by Donald Glover, opens himself up to Timon and Pumbaa shows off what we mean. Just take a listen to a little of this.
Oh, Pumbaa, why is everything always gas with you?
I know.
What do you think, Simba?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. But somebody once told me the great kings of the past are up there and they're all watching over us.
That's a good one.
To anyone who's seen the original movie, doesn't this seem a little bit rushed to you? Yeah, like they're trying to spit out all the important lines so they can get on to the next part. The entire movie feels like this to varying degrees, and I think I know why. But it's not all bad. This version has some new content that we actually kind of like. We'll elaborate on what was probably the best scene that they added, and this is the one between Scar and Sarabi. In this version, Scar, voiced by that, is in love with Sarabi, Queen of the Lions, voiced by Alfre Woodard. Or Alfre Woodard? I don't know how the letter E works. Leave me alone. In this scene, Scar has become king, and he tries to compel her to accept him fully as her king. When she refuses because he's a creep, we get a taste of just what kind of king Scar really is.
From now on, the lions will eat after the hyenas. And they don't leave much behind.
The models don't get in the way here, and Scar makes himself look menacing and creepy. Now, don't get us wrong. Not all the new stuff was good. Especially ones involving Timon and Pumbaa. But if the film had taken itself more in this darker, heavier direction, it would have complemented the kind of more detailed and naturalistic look they were going for. Sure, people would then complain about making The Lion King dark and edgy, but it would have been better than what we got. Especially when you consider both how well and how poorly they handled the hyenas. In the original, Shenzi was head of the comedic trio, sure. But in this one, Shenzi, voiced by Florence Kasumba, is the freaking boss! She is a terrifying presence. That is, until the King of the Pride Lands shows up.
If you ever come near my son again...
No, Mufasa. Never. Never again.
You've been warned, Shenzi.
That is what these models do best. Fear and power. These animals don't look good when they laugh.
I laugh in the face of danger.
But check out the hyenas. They are an exception. These guys take the biggest weaknesses of these models and make them work, because laughing is what hyenas freaking do. But there is one tiny problem that ruins the experience for us. They ain't funny! These two, who are so forgettable that I haven't bothered learning their names, are the only attempt the hyenas make at real humor.
Please give me some space.
What?
You could lay anywhere in this cave.
Where do you want me?
I need some personal space. Okay?
Okay.
You like that joke right there? Well, it's the only joke they're gonna freaking make! Imagine if we only ever used one joke in our whole series. It'd be something like... You know what this scene is like? No, what? Close up, where I say something. Stop it! Forget it! Leave my face alone! The big difference here is that Our joke was actually funny. Theirs never was. This is just such a missed opportunity, especially when you compare them to the hyenas from the original. They were so energetic, you just wanted to see what they'd say or do next. Here...
Seriously? Oh, I'm sorry. That's a good distance right there. Okay.
I can only wait for the sweet relief of when the two of them are off screen again. Uh-oh, we missed a point here. Beyonce as Nala. Oh, great. Look, she's hardly worth bringing up, but I suppose, for full disclosure, we kinda have to. To sum up our issue with Beyonce's rendition of Nala is that... Number one, she oversins her musical parts. You ever notice how in Disney movies they always get some famous pop star to cover their songs in their soundtracks, but they're never as much fun as they are in the movie? That's kind of what Beyonce does with her part in Can You Feel the Love Tonight. When she fills her part with a lot of grace notes, that's what we mean by over-singing. It sounds nice, I guess, but it's the kind of sound you want to save for the end credits, not for the movie itself, especially if little kids want to try to sing along. Number two. She only has one setting, and that's strong, independent woman who don't need no king! A gross exaggeration, but you get the idea. She's in perpetual tough girl throughout most of the movie. Yeah, fighting Lee from the future here. This is also technically not true. It would be more true to say that her voice acting is rather bland, not necessarily that she only has one setting. I don't know where I got this from. As an actress, she doesn't really have a lot of nuance throughout her dialogue. Even those times when it would make sense for her to be tough, it sounds so forced.
I've been waiting too, and I'm not a cub anymore!
What we're trying to say here is that Beyonce is perfectly talented in her field, but that field is not acting. And her style doesn't improve the in-movie musical numbers either. All in all, this movie is just like the original, only weaker in every way. That's what this whole movie is like. Every ounce of it is just not as good as the original, but it's so similar you can't help but compare them. All in all, just stick with the original movies and don't bother with these remakes unless some of them bring something truly new to the formula. Now, if you'll excuse us, we got a saboteur to hunt down. But first... Patreon shout. In comes Sonic Destroyer 12 and Bashful Ivory, Joyful Cryptid and Megan Cloud. Thanks for your contribution. I guess I just don't know how to rhyme. Oh, I just can't wait for my next video to be done. Hey! If you want to have your name read at the end of the credits too, go ahead and check out our Patreon link in the description below. And if you'd rather hear someone else making music than me for a while, then check out Steve Sharp. He makes most of the music we use on this channel, and his YouTube link is in the description. And if you want to send us any fan mail or anything like that, send it to P.O. Box 82, Prospect, Kentucky 40059. Later, guys!